everybody, today we've got Todd from PerformX Training. He's been my professional strength and mobility coach for the past 3 years, and he's going to give us some great tips and advice. Check it out.
Previously we discussed the strength principles and the order we follow that strength training in. Now I'd like to go into cardiovascular training, which is its own category within the fitness as well. And with the cardiovascular, there's the same thing. There's an order here. Again, I would suggest to people, and this is, not just my advice or suggestions. If you do the research, there's some great science out there on development of cardiovascular. I always like a mix. Again, we want to be a dynamic athlete. We don't want to just be caught. My suggestion always would be, don't just get stuck sitting on your stationary bike because you're a biker. To me, I would rather lose 2 or 5% in my overall pedal fitness, give that up to be a more well-rounded just person, to be a better, a multi-sport athlete. I think like a lot of people are, and to have a longevity and not eventually have back problems and hip problems because you're always on the spin bike. So maybe mix it up for that almost cross-training effect, which is proven again by science, not just my opinion, that cross-training is very rewarding. So now we can mix up the cardiovascular with the various equipment, and as we say, we start with that base, we start with that aerobic, and then we start shortening up. And maybe you can shorten things up by giving yourself a distance challenge and see if you can cover that distance a little faster and faster. It might be a wattage or a power output level. Again, you could spend a lot of time on each each individual way of outlining this, but in our training, we start elevating that intensity, shortening those durations, and then we start even getting into some of that interval work where you're moving back and forth between high and low intensity, or maybe it's even moderate intensity and high intensity. Again, I'll vary that depending on the duration, and you can do those intervals anywhere between as short as 20 seconds, even 15 seconds. I have some of my athletes for its purposes, and as long as upwards of 5 minutes where you're moving back and forth. And again, you can spend a lot of time on this. And to do that, again, that pyramid needs to be built, and that aerobic base needs to be the start of this as you start developing upwards. We'll get maybe even deeper into this in the future, where we start maybe showing you how we test athletes to know their zones, and again, how do you monitor this? You've got wattage, you've got heart rate, and then some will again go to their FTP or their the zones that they know from their previous training. So I'd like to get in future episodes, I'd like to get deeper into this with most, and hopefully that will give everybody some insight onto how to use these tools or these levels.